Hi, stay tuned to see me, Sarah, interview Prince Henry of Portugal.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Afterlife News Morning Show with Matthew. Today's topic, Portuguese explorers and their vast trading empire. During the 1400s and early 1500s, the Portuguese had a vast trading empire throughout Southeast Asia and Africa. Portugal was the first nation to establish these trading relations, and the voyages show the daily struggle and strife with which men dealt with for months at a time. This commerce with other nations allowed them to be a profitable middleman in selling goods to the rest of Europe. They were able to sell these goods at a much smaller price than the previous Italian and Muslim merchants. Today, we are lucky enough to be joined by Prince Henry. He was the man who started to fund the whole exploration project in Portugal. He also founded a navigational school with which he could teach men how to properly sail for their destinations. We don't want to waste any more of his afterlife, so here he is. Over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Matthew, and hello, Afterlife World. I'm joined today by a very prestigious man, Mr. Prince Henry.
It's just Prince Henry, thank you.
Today, I'm with this prestigious Prince Henry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Prince, please tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Well, I was the son of the King of Portugal at the time when I began to explore, and I was able to organize some key expeditions, including those at Diaz and Gama. With these revolutionary voyages, we were able to access some of the great wealth that lie beyond our eyes before. We discovered new lands with quality goods and no distinct ruler. We were able to take many of these places as our own trading posts relatively easily. This vast empire stayed in our control until the early 1600s, when the Dutch eventually won many of our trading posts.
Is it true that these expeditions made you poor?
Indeed, madam. After I died, it took Portuguese royalty 60 years to pay off their debts for my explorations. I believe they were worth every bit of money. But that is such a precious balance.
How brutal are these expeditions to a sailor? Are they as bad as people say they are?
I must say, I never voyaged on any of my expeditions. I have never experienced this struggle firsthand, but I can assure you that from the many accounts I've heard, it was a true prison sentence to be out there.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Absolutely.
Talk about disease.
Oh, yes. Could you please talk about disease and illness in Portuguese territories?
As always, one great example of how us Portuguese decimated the natives by disease. That is, by in 1563, as much as one-half of the native Brazilian population was dead from the epidemic of diseases that we have brought.
Now, I understand that as an devout Catholic, you wish to spread Christianity through your expeditions.
Indeed, spreading the grace of God is something that every man is born to do, and I feel truly honored to have this opportunity to spread Roman Catholicism.
Thank you. Now back to...
No, Sarah, not yet. Ask him about slavery.
Not now. I'm not done yet.
Fine, go along.
Please, tell me about the explorers you were around and have had the grace of seeing from the afterlife.
Of course. Well, I must mention Bartholomew Diaz. His first trip around the southern tip of Africa was revolutionary for navigation and for Portugal. Vasco da Gama was another great explorer. His exploration along the eastern coast of Africa and the western coast of India were also great starts for future trade. He also gave us the first direct route to India by sea. No explanation would be complete without Amerigo Vespucci. In his exploration of Brazil, he claimed that this land was not Asia, like Christopher Columbus. Even though he mainly worked for Spain, we still take pride in Ferdinand Magellan. He and his crew were the first people to sail around the world, or circumnavigate. There is a great line of explorers in Portuguese history.
Thank you.
Slavery!
Are you free for more questions?
Unfortunately, no. I'm best be going to my Dead Portuguese Rulers seminar at 9. I'm about to be late.
Well then, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Matthew.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, I will talk about slavery in relation to our Prince Henry's Portuguese. Back to their colonization of Brazil. Many of the natives were forced into hard slave labor in sugar and then later tobacco plantations. Eventually, as the need for work became stronger, the colonists also took in African slaves. The Portuguese used men from present-day Guinea-Bissau, Angola, and Mozambique in Africa for their slaves. They also tried to bring European culture and Christianity into these regions of Africa, but the main reason for their being in these areas was indeed the slave trade. Well, looks like that's all we have for today, everybody. Don't want to waste any more of your precious eternal afterlife. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody. Did you know only 18 out of 250 men returned from Ferdinand Magellan's circumnavigation journey, or the journey in which he sailed around the world? Did you know natives worked under Spain in New Spain or Mexico under the encomienda system, which was eventually abolished in favor of African slavery? Did you know the French lost all of their land in North America, or New France, in the French and Indian War? Did you know the Dutch gave up New Netherland to the British without a fight, losing their only land in North America and a stake in the fur trade? Did you know Bartholomew Diaz did not cross the southern tip of Africa until 20 years after our very respected Prince Henry's death?